Federal Drive is presented by GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, proudly providing health and dental benefits to federal employees and their families. Visit GEHA.com.
The federal government currently has both the largest political workforce and the lowest levels of senior career leaders in decades. A new report finds that there are now more political appointees in place under the Trump administration than under any other modern U.S. president. At the same time, senior career leadership staffing has gone down 30%. Here with more details is Federal News Network's Drew Friedman. Drew, thanks for joining me.
Nice to be with you today, Terry.
These stats come from a new report from the Partnership for Public Service. Tell us more about what they found.
This trend is something that we've started to see under the Trump administration. The report found that non-confirmed, so non-Senate confirmed political appointees in the federal workforce are at their highest levels in 40 years. By the end of 2025, President Trump had more than 1,800 political appointees in the Schedule C classification. That's a category of political appointees that don't require Senate confirmation. But those more than 1,800 political appointees in Schedule C is the peak level that we've seen under the current Trump administration, and also higher than any that has occurred from any other modern president. At the same time, the number of career members in the senior executive service has declined, as you said, by 30%. That was a finding from the report. That's due to a combination of retirements, resignations, and some terminations of SES members, as the Trump administration has pursued significant cuts to the federal workforce. As a result of that, we've seen the number of career SES members drop from about 8,100 at the end of the Biden administration to now about 5,800 as of January 2026. So that's several thousand who have been lost or left their jobs, and it's a record low since at least 1998.
What does the partnership say is the effect of that swap, that trend?
What they point out in their report is that both roles, the political appointees in Schedule C as well as career senior leaders, are both important to managing the federal government. They say political appointees set policy direction, while career officials have more of the management background and expertise within government to make sure that agencies can run effectively. But if you have, as the partnership says, a surge in political appointees and a drop in career leadership, that can lead to a loss of institutional knowledge that career leaders would have had between administrations. It could also lead to a decline in the quality of federal services, and what the partnership says would be likely increasing political control at agencies. So the partnership ultimately says, it's not that political appointees are necessarily unqualified, and many do bring value to agencies. But if you have agencies that are led by officials who are selected for, quote, political loyalty rather than their competence or qualifications, that can lead to a decline ultimately in expertise.
Does the partnership offer a prediction about how this trend will play out over time?
It's likely, at least for the next couple of years under the Trump administration, for this to continue. There have been a couple changes from the administration recently that are likely going to lead to even more political appointees or positions akin to political appointees, according to the partnership. So for one, in July 2025, President Trump signs an executive order creating Schedule G in the federal workforce. And this is a new employment classification that's quite similar to Schedule C, but essentially allows the president to make more political appointments beyond what we see in Schedule C. There's also expected to soon be the finalization of Schedule Policy/Career in the federal workforce. And while that is still technically going to be a career section of federal employees, the partnership argues that because those positions would be more easily fireable and replaced with people who would be more willing to carry out the president's priorities and policy agenda, that likely means that there could be at least something that looks similar to political appointees, even if the official title is not political.
So what else has changed for the SES under the Trump administration?
There have been a lot of changes. One of the biggest ones is that the Office of Personnel Management under the Trump administration has capped the number of career SES members who can receive high ratings on their performance reviews. This is something where we're going to soon see this replicated for the entire federal workforce. But the final rule that creates required limitations on those high levels of performance that's already in place for the career SES and those high levels of federal positions. Other than that, there have also been changes to the elements contained inside of SES performance reviews, where OPM has now made whether you are adhering to the president's priorities, what they're calling, quote, the most critical element of SES reviews, so making that the top priority there. And also, even after this 30% decline in SES staffing, a couple months ago, OPM advised agencies to consider further reducing their SES staffing in response to the broader federal workforce cuts that we've seen. Long story short, there's a lot going on for the SES here.
Does the partnership's report make any recommendations for addressing what it's now articulating as sort of an imbalance between senior political and senior career officials?
One issue that they are recommending Congress tackle is to establish a cap on Schedule C appointments, while at the same time blocking any presidential administration from creating a new category of political appointees, unless, of course, Congress approves something. This is because what we've seen in the current workforce is that because of the SES reductions on the career side, political SES members now make up 11% of the SES, and that is above the statutory limit. So what the partnership is saying is essentially a way to kind of stop that or reverse that trend is by making sure that the president can't kind of circumvent that option for political appointees. And then more generally, the partnership recommended that there's just more transparency in who is in political positions across government. This is something where we do have some of that information under what's called the Plum Book from OPM, but that's required only to be updated annually, and it's also been shown to have some gaps or errors in the data recently. So the partnership is saying that it needs to essentially be filled out more completely and perhaps be updated on a quarterly basis rather than just annually.
That's Federal News Network's Drew Friedman. Drew, thanks for bringing us this story.
Thank you.
You can find the full details at federalnewsnetwork.com.